Hello everyone, I am Pratibha and today me and my friends Pew, Rachel and Kelly are presenting on the impacts of COVID-19 on the learning process of hospitality students of university. So these are the contents for today's presentation. So without any delay, let's start our presentation with the introduction. As we all know, for the last 2 years, everyone has been suffering from the COVID-19. It has a huge impact on education. A report released by UNESCO in 2020 indicates that worldwide school closures impacted close to 90% of all learners during the month of March. So the main reason to choose this topic is that due to this unexpected pandemic, students are facing problems with regard to their quality education. Personally, as a hospitality student, I have experienced a huge difference in online and face-to-face classes. And due to this pandemic, some of my friends had to cancel their internship program last year. Learners in higher education often have contradictory opinions relating to their satisfaction and preference towards online learning techniques and are associated with higher levels of fear and anxiety caused by the need to find future employment. The field of tourism and hospitality education has been particularly affected due to the nature of courses, which always required students to gain practical experience in the field of tourism. Now, let's see some questions and objectives that we raised for our research. First, let's see the questions. How does COVID-19 affect the learning of hospitality students and their job opportunities? And the next is, how does the learning satisfaction of hospitality students studying during the pandemic differ from those students who graduated before the pandemic? Also, here are some objectives of our research proposal. First, to find out how COVID-19 affect the overall learning process of hospitality students and their job opportunities, as well as to compare learning satisfaction between students of the hospitality management who graduated before the pandemic and during the pandemic. Now, Rachel will continue with literature review.
Moving on to the literature review part, we examined several articles that focus on how the global pandemic impacts the learning process of hospitality students. And some of them gave us some suggestions to enhance the current teaching and learning methods. Before the global pandemic, hospitality students used to go to school and take a mix of theoretical and practical classes. However, after the outbreak of COVID-19, universities have been forced to move forward online and a few of blended classes. By surveying Hong Kong, Taviti Yaman et al. Found that this sudden change has caused disruptions in students' learning process and created all kinds of anxieties. In detail, the higher level of agreeableness and openness to experience students have, the more anxious they feel. Eventually, the anxiety affects their learning experience. So Rivera et al. Mentioned that hope is an important driver of adaptability, resilience, and life satisfaction of hospitality students. Similarly, we also think that students need to try to see hope during this crisis when we can get easily negative and uncertain about the future. Also, universities need to raise their morale and hope so that students are not anxious anymore. Choi et al. Conducted focus group interviews in South Korea and Malaysia to offer recommendations for better learning during the pandemic. They suggested that blended education should be more utilized. We agree with this point because based on our experience, the blended method is more effective than taking classes only online. Also, the lecturers should frequently communicate with students and listen to the students' opinions to improve future related blended learning programs. Lastly, to look at another suggestion, Zhong et al. Also claimed that academic engagement activities play a significant role in providing students with hope, academic satisfaction, and the loyalty intention to remain in hospitality as a major and career. So next, Kelly will continue.
My name is Kelly, and I will talk about our research design and methodology. And there are two resources. In this case, the author used quantitative research methods. The participants are hospitality and tourism management students taking online classes in Hong Kong. Among these tables, I will talk about the data on running. In running anxiety, about 15% said it was difficult to maintain motivation in online classes, and about 12% they were stressed out of it. Also, about 12% answered that it is difficult to continuously focus on class materials. In perceived learning, about 18% said they developed the ability to communicate, and about 16% they improved their ability to integrate and generalize facts in class materials. In terms of running, it can be seen that there are many problems with poor motivation. However, there are also good results that improve communication skills and the ability to integrate and generalize materials through online classes. In the next case, the author decided both qualitative and quantitative methodology. The research are divided into three types of online classes. The first is pre-recorded videos and doesn't include the professor's face. The second is a pre-recorded video, including the professor's face. The last is a real-time online lecture using interactive software like Zoom. This table shows that the most students are satisfied. However, the results may be different in Usong University with strengths in internships and practice. Because we feel directly that COVID-19 has reduced the range of opportunities we can experience originally. So we will ask the students of Department of Global Hotel Management and students who graduated before the COVID-19 outbreak to survey the same questions and compare the results of them.
Right, so for the conclusion part, we know that hospitality industry is very sensitive to crisis, which forces the sector to cope up with the situation quickly, including during this COVID-19 pandemic. So this research focused on how the pandemic affects education tourism, especially in Usong University, South Korea, by observing the current enrolled students and the alumni of hospitality-related majors. And the implications of this study are presented as follows, in which gives evidence on how the new learning methods such as Zoom classes affects the motivation of hospitality students during the class. Secondly, as we will conduct a survey that concerns the relation between anxiety and learning satisfaction of students, this research will be able to identify the difference in outcomes between those who graduated before and during the pandemic. And therefore, these two findings may support future research associated with this topic. But despite the convenience of doing research in our own school, there are several potential limitations that need to be underlined, which can be a limited sample of alumni due to lack of connections from the others. It may also not applicable to students who are currently enrolled in graduate programs, as we only focus those in the undergraduate programs. And we believe that the course structure is different, which will give different results as well. And because the school has a lot of students who come from different countries, we may not be able to cover all of them due to limited resources, so it cannot generalize the overall students' perceptions towards this topic. But we do suggest more new research areas in this field of study. So the first one is how the local education system affects this foreign students' learning satisfaction, because some countries may be different from each other. Second is how the hybrid class mode influence hospitality students on deciding their future career choices, whether they want to stay in the same major or not. Researchers also can conduct a study in a field of study other than hospitality, and of course, they can do research in other schools and areas as well. And these are the resources that we refer to when doing this project. And that's all from our group today. Thank you for your attention.